Hello to all my friends this Sunday morning here in the North Carolina mountains, where we have been cleansed by the rain gods with great abundance lately. It has really come down, but everything is so lush and green and alive. I just had a friend here from Canada who really was enamored with the lushness and the greenness and the livelihood of the energy here in North Carolina. It really is something special if you have not ever been able to come here. I hope anyone and everyone could come to this area and visit. I'm Cindy Carter. I'm an intuitive and energy healer and a teacher of holographic healing. I have created this series of podcasts as a basis of understanding that you are becoming the guide, that you're becoming aware of your dimensional existence, and that you're the directive force within your own life. So you are the alchemist of your life. And the alchemist is the accelerant of the idea of divinity within the body and within the mind, where you're the inhabitant of the body in this lifetime. So now you get ultimate authority of the proportion of clarity and awareness that you are to create or allow and then proliferate through life. So becoming the alchemist is an important part of the understanding of spiritual alignment or spiritual allowance. You see, there's really nothing to achieve now. And in the last shows, I've been talking about these transparent times and how all of life is being displayed in so many places, in so many time frames. It's like a collapsing of time all at once, so there's a collision of chaos and trauma. Its energy is squeezing through the universal structures, and the earth is having to squeeze itself through. The cellular body is going through this squeezing, I call it. And I'm, speaking to people and clients and friends that are actively displaying all these discordant electronic spasms from their bodies, from their minds, and from their emotional fields. It's been a quite traumatic week for many humans. But how traumatic does it have to be? If you change your perception of the trauma, it changes all things about the trauma. It's just how you perceive it. How can we change that? So today I'm going to talk about how do you change? Well, does that mean it's work? Today I'm talking about the great work is no work. That you can feel that in many ways, however you want to, but the way I feel and perceive this is that the great spiritual work of aligning one's soul with the universal wish of the collective heart of this life, this aligning is the so-called work. That's actually no work if you choose it to be. We no longer have anything to achieve or attain or conquer to align our bodies with source divinity. It's just a matter of choice. So it is no work, to me, to allow joy and love in the body when we see past the current perception or the current illusion or the current turmoil that most see and project from themselves. Like recently I had a body injury. I had torn and messed up my knees, where a month of pain is about all I can do. So looking at the energy of it and seeing through the emotional fields and allowing myself that through a session of energy healing, I allowed energy to just spew itself out of the body as discordant fire is what it felt like. It was uncomfortable and tight, and it felt full of tension. And a little bit of fear and sadness, definitely sadness, I was feeling coming through this energy, through my body. And it had lifetimes of ancestral heritage or lifetimes of my own where I gave too much of my body because I've always had a strong one. So I always felt that I could do things that maybe my mind, told me I could do, that my body sometimes said, oh no. So it wasn't the most compassionate thing to continue to do the work that was hurting me. But I did learn in the process. And then now I'm seeing what a master I am at choosing the work that I did. Because it actually unearthed, I feel like, lifetimes of pain. I've had a lot of pain in bodies in this lifetime from sporting injuries since early childhood. I trained for the Olympics in swimming and had state championship sports in soccer and softball. So I had a lot of torn things, a lot of broken things. But this was different. This was pain that was unearthed through lifetimes of cellular memory. That was unearthed in just a couple of energy sessions that friends of mine gave me. And I appreciate them for assisting me. So emotion came with the pain, but then dissipated and released out of my body. This is what I'm calling the great work for myself. And I'm not shaming or blaming myself for choosing the work that I did to hurt myself in the beginning. I could be called the master alchemist for choosing the thing to unearth the cellular memory. You see, this is all about seeing the work differently. Because your current turmoil that you're having could be seen very differently through different eyes. So I'm trying to, in these series of podcasts that you can go back and read and listen to others, I'm trying to unearth all the views of life that can be altered. And these are the ones that I was taught back in about 2010 from my higher self. I went into intense teachings that was called the great work to me. I was taught how to align my soul because I felt like I had brought so many souls into this body, I really needed help figuring out how to give them time in the body without being painful or bringing in the wrong ones. Maybe not they're wrong, but I don't need a bunch of victimhood in my cells, especially from other lifetimes or other ancestral lines. I'm kind of done with ancestral lines. I'm actually working on those right now. Perhaps you are too. But what if I told you even the ancestral lines are all perfect? That this timing, this place, your body, your mind, this asking to be here now, obviously you asked to be here now. Some of you are going, heck no, I did not ask to be here now. Well, guess what? Another part of you did. And maybe you need to claim that. And don't be confused here. Because you're here right now on this earth to proliferate a life that is a collection of souls in a body, your body, that are all looking for room and airtime in this vehicle to bring its version of consciousness. This is the great work for you, to have no work at all in becoming the alchemist, to see and witness all the energies in and around you as a mystery, with no emotional ties, even if emotion comes flying out of your body. You don't have to wrap an opinion around it. What if all the versions of you were allowed with love and grace through no work? Now, this is not to be confused with just being, like sitting in meditation for 12 hours a day and doing nothing, even though that is doing something. Because when you're being, you actually are doing. So let's not get into a joust of wordy word play and properness based on ideals of past humans. Let's choose freedom of the mind and freedom of the heart, so that the inner and outer world of the body unit, known as you, can be loved, back to its wholeness. You are already loved in all your wholeness, with all the good and the ugly, whatever you would classify as ugly. To be accepted and allowed all the feelings and emotions with clarity and awareness to their intention and direction. If you were to watch any given energy that comes to or from you and watch the intention, the source or the direction coming and going, you might see if that is in alignment with source ideals or not, source morals or not, or is it part of the compassionate code of conduct for universal structures? If it's not, you need to rethink that choice, that emotion, that feeling, and allow it with clarity. It's up to the alchemist of the body. See, you're the main director now of this show. We're not waiting on angels to take over the situation. I'm not waiting on Jesus to take the wheel, because I feel like Jesus is part of me. So if I take the wheel, Jesus has taken the wheel. And I hope that didn't bust anybody's constructs. I do honor Jesus, Lord Sananda. I have a great relationship with Lord Sananda. But it's up to the main director of the show to bring the proper energies to the proper aligned environment, to spew what it must. All the energies. To spew with, boundaries. Allow yourself boundaries to spew. Give yourself a time frame to resurrect. It all doesn't have to be instant, but it can be. You can bring the proper aligned environment for yourself. That's what alchemists do. They have a crucible. That's the environment. Proper energy, proper attitude, proper intention-based idea with the proper environment created to allow self-love as a foundation. In all the alignment and knowing from the source, this is all we need. You don't need ideas and directives from other humans. You don't need ceremonies or tragedies from the past to work by. You just need self-love. And know that your alignment with your source is what is the most playful aspect of allowance. That this requires someone to not ridicule themselves or shame themselves or blame themselves for past tragedies or past decisions or past actions. Anything that's come by and through you, forgiveness of self is a high possibility. Because remember, you are possibly hundreds or thousands of consciousnesses in one body. Is consciousnesses a word? It is now. But that's all the ones coming into the body. How many can you cram into a body in alignment with this proper thought form? Because you might have some rogue agent working in your head that believes in, some really dark things. You can believe in them, but you certainly don't have to align in them. What are you choosing for yourself? Because choosing to be the master alchemist is learning to acclimate here on an earth. To learn that your divine source stream of proliferated life is a well of information, and the frequencies within and around you are the well of information. You're aligning to a crystalline grid with crystals within your body and mind. Could be science, if you want me to play it out as science. I can play it out as spirituality. I can play it out as whatever you want me to wrap it into a package for you. I see all things as energy. I have no religious background at all. I don't read the books that other people's read. I don't know the history and background of all the Greek gods and all the, deities. I don't get all that. I get energy. I see where it comes, I see where it goes, through all dimensions. Universal awareness is a quantum field of awareness. Simultaneous life. Simultaneous life doesn't allow you to call it work. Because if you're going to have frequencies in and around you and call it work, then you're going to have to allow these discordant electronic frequencies to charge you up. And you to work really hard to get rid of them. That's not the idea I have. The idea I have is graceful allowance of all emotions. That through forgiveness of self and alignment with all the consciousness you are, to allow your mind to be angry if you have to. But to know that wrong is not right and right is not wrong, it doesn't really matter. It matters how you perceive. So this is where you go into the no work idea. It is no work to patiently and calmly go about your observation of this crazy wild ride that we're on right now. To be patient and calm. That does make sense to me. It may not make sense to others. It's not a far out notion for, we can do this. I can do this. You can do this. It's not some skill that only few are gifted. Choice is for everyone. Divine will choice is yours. Not really free will choice, but divine will choice. You see, divine will choice allows the mystery of life. Because your mind may not wrap around that, because sometimes mysteries don't make sense. They just are. And I'm of the notion that the five senses anyway are the dullest versions of us. It's like unawareness. We still love our unawareness because we're so many senses. We're telepathic. We're intuitive. We can match source energy at a universal level. You can bend spoons if you want to. We don't need magic in 3D. But it will happen if you can allow into your body and mind and your outer and finer senses. If you start allowing the idea of grace, of ease, of joy, of this so-called great work, but no work at all, when it flows as easily as grace. Grace is not to be attained. Grace is not to be cajoled or begged for. It's for the asking. It's for the choosing. So the first clue that you may get that your choices may need to be reassessed is when the road becomes really difficult for you. When the road is strewn with obstacles. That's pretty much a clue to me that I can move beyond that and flow easily, asking myself to align with my heart's wish. What does my heart want? When things become difficult in my mind, or there seem to be obstructions in my way, I allow the universe to work through me that day. How can I be of service to the universe? And the universe gifts me. In joyful, allowance. It can't be called work to me. But it is my heart's wish. And usually when that comes, it's perfect, and I stay open, and then I start moving in the direction like a dowsing rod, trying on energies for size, like, oh, this feels good, no obstacles. Ooh, this one's flowing nicely. And as I move with the universal wish, not just sitting and being. Because if you're like a spiritual worker or a spiritual warrior, you may call yourself, you can now imagine for you a big break, like break time with a big whistle. Woo! Take a break, recharge. If you were working in the fields, they'd have you come sit under a tree. They might give you a salt tablet. They might give you, some juice, cookie, so you could keep working. It's break time. Take a break and just recharge your insights and recharge your inspirations and all those old ceremonies and those antiquated traditions. Oh, don't get me started on traditions. I might make some of you really have an electrical explosion in your brain. If I told you I'm a resident of the universe residing on Earth and I have no hold on a faction or a fraction or a defined square of separation to attach myself to. I don't believe in traditions. None of them are at the core of me. They're all constructs to give me access to my divine nature, or in some cases, away from your divine nature. But what I know is divine nature is my peace, is my love, my joy, my harmony, my freedom, my reverence, my compassion, and my ecstatic joy for life. So divine nature as an alchemist is the core metal for you to unearth within yourself. Because you're the God, you're the angel, and all the lower energies combined. So being compassionate to the alignment of that and the activities of that and how you take on energy, how you release energy, let's just do it in forgiveness for yourself. You are grace in a body, no matter how it comes spewing out. You can restore the vitality and the liveliness of the vehicle of you and the mind that you're in by choosing to be the alchemist of your day. Because there are so many dimensions waiting on your attention. I personally get pulled into communication that's divine. And I love this work, how it can be called work, but I do take a break and I let the body relax. I just had a nice 3-day relaxation period with my friend Jenna, who came to visit from Canada, and we had a blast laughing and allowing the mystery of the day with no agenda. We had a great time and great things happened. Perfectly aligned situations, future venues for me to teach in, future friends, new ideas. New clarity was brought to us. So we let our day unfold and minus any agenda and any thought forms around it. So we stopped judging everything we saw and we just became this beautiful mystery. But taking a break from this work is kind of nice, even though it's not work. It is nice to clear your mind. And if you're being really hard on yourself right now, give yourself a break and do no work, which is the work. The work of allowance and being kind to yourself. Last week I talked about being okay in the uncertainty, and folks, I cannot begin to tell you the weirdness you're getting ready to see. When quantum fields collide and galactic energies become waves of influence on an Earth, well, we all align in a way that is the Earth wants for us. The crystalline earth and our crystalline bodies, it's a coexistence of peace if we choose the peace part. We can choose the volatile part if we choose. But we need to learn to be okay with what we see right now because it's going to get weirder. When timelines converge and time extends or time shortens or erases, it's all new and fun. I have been part of timeline experiments. They are new and fun, but they can be volatile if you choose. It's all based on your intention. So this upcoming energy event that people are talking about, I talked about it last week, but I posed the question, what if the event were like the galactic portal opening up and the outpouring of love from our star brothers and sisters came raining upon the earth, raining upon your body and mind, your heart, your cells, and it altered and transformed you into grace, into love, into peace and joy, taking away all of your trauma. What if that was the event to not fear? That's already happening, I'm telling you, for me, in my perception. People are preparing. Well, what are we preparing for? I'm preparing for this to be no work for me, to becoming the compassionate observer of my life right now and the lives of those around me. Because I am involved with quite a few people having some disruptive lives. especially those that are choosing difficult roads and difficult situations. I'm here to help uplift, and my friends are here to uplift. There are many friends on the earth that are here to help uplift others in so many different ways. We can love these people and hold them in the benevolent vision. If you hold someone who's really struggling in a benevolent vision, in joy in front of you, with you seeing them laugh. Actually, this is how doctors in Asia heal patients. They have before stood around a patient with cancer, circled the patient, held hands, and held a singular vision in their minds. These are highly trained doctors who are able to focus for long periods of time. You try to focus for over a minute and a half. It's very difficult. I have learned to focus. I was trained by a time traveler to focus. These are all very necessary agreements with yourself to have universal alignment, universal vision. So these things actually reduce cancer in the body. It scientifically heals people. To hold them in highest benevolent vision. So holding all of us in the highest vision of wholeness and grace, holding the earth as whole beauty in your eyes, and the earth's inhabitants as free beings on the earth, like this earthly love is being freely given and freely received. The joy and reverence of your life is palpable and honored on an earth that you chose to be on. Within this version of life, you're forever and joyful free if you choose. So this vision of you as freedom on an earth can be inserted into your daily intentions, your daily visions, your daily work, in your daily workspace of grace that you can partake in, however you choose. I have launched a little workspace for people, like 15 minutes a day workspace. It's an MP3 series that I've launched. It's 11 days of meditations that become an activation of the energy of grace, and I call it the template of grace. I am now having clients and friends tell me how much it's really changing their life, and it really seems to be bringing them to a graceful period, a graceful understanding of themselves, allowing them to gift themselves some boundaries when they need it, some self-love when they know that they've already earned it, and to not allow the negative spiral of life to take them away. These transmissions uplift your auric field. They can uplift your emotional and mental field. You can allow this information as an activation through the cellular body. It's based on science, many years of understanding on my part of proliferation, of Genesis, and how the cells take on the ideas of life. How we don't want to repeat the patterns of death and downward spiral. How we would like to choose life and proliferated life. So this series can be used to alter your cellular and mental emotional structure so you are more graceful on an earth. It alters the world you walk in. And I am getting proof of that from my clients. You can reach this activity of grace, this, field of grace on my website, which is cindycarterhealing.com. I also have a free ebook that you can download called Solene, the Ancient One, which is a transmission of cosmic information that I got based in immortality from 2010 to 2018. So I encourage everyone, each and every one of you, to become the compassionate observer of this peach-colored great work that is no work at all. Pastiche. Take on the beauty. Just grounded living in grounded bodies on a grounded earth. that's out of lower dimensional influence. Life proliferating life as you as the alchemist. Please contact me if you have any spiritual emergencies. If you need spiritual consultation, phone conversation, a chat, quick chat, or I do offer remote energy sessions. I do genetic heralding of negative energies. I could go into all the different kinds, but it's not the most graceful idea. But I deal with it as an observer. You can too. So I wish you all a no-work week. How about we live in grace this week? Until next Sunday, I wish you all freedom and grace.